Listen, there's nothing against Brock Purdy. It's not that he's bad. But what I've said all year is I don't see the special. I think a lot of this, most of it is the roster and Kyle Shanahan. And this weekend when the weather's not perfect and he misses Deebo Samuel, who gets injured, he's ordinary. The final four quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson, about to be MVP for the second time, fastest quarterback ever, Patrick Mahomes, a wizard, number one pick Jared Goff, and the last guy picked in a draft, Brock Purdy. And here's another thing about the Niners. I love Kyle Shanahan, but he is completely tied to his play sheet. He doesn't feel like a great second-half adapter to me. He came with a game plan. It's usually brilliant. They usually roll over people, but they're not a good come-from-behind team because I'm not sure if they adapt. Once Deebo Samuel got hurt, it's not the same offense. You can't just do what you do with Lamar and say, take it over, kid. Make some plays with your feet. You watch Lamar and the Ravens, they're missing people all the time. Think about it. I mean, January football's different. The weather's worse. You get stars beaten up, they have to leave in the first quarter. Your opposition's better. The coaching's better. You got to adapt. I've seen this with San Francisco before. Better scheme, better roster, average quarterback, and they don't hold a trophy. I just can't see Brock Purdy, especially without Deebo Samuel, and they're getting very Christian McCaffrey reliant. I can't see him hosting a trophy. I mean, think about this. Lamar Jackson's on a third-string running back, has a rookie receiver, missing his star tight end, and the left tackle, sometimes available, sometimes not, and he's great. No impact. No impact. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes, receivers led the NFL in drops. Not been comfortable with his offensive tackles all year long. In the tougher AFC, his tight end's great but aging. Loses coordinators every couple years. No impact. 5-0 in his last 5 playoff games. Brock Purdy has a little rain and Deebo Samuel leaves. It doesn't look the same. And January football is different. Green Bay should have won that game. Green Bay couldn't hit their kicks. Green Bay early dropped a pick 6. I mean, I'm watching the same thing you're watching. Green Bay was almost a 10-point dog. And I said all this past week, Green Bay's the real deal here. Now, the only thing they're missing is time on task. Green Bay's incredibly young and really, really extraordinarily talented. Maybe not Detroit stack talented, but on offense, they got nothing but talent, twitch. They just don't have enough games. And so Jordan Love a little erratic. They make some mistakes. But I'm telling you, championship teams are overcoming. Baltimore's missing people constantly with Lamar. No impact. Mahomes, receivers lead the NFL in drops. Here they are again. Rain and missing Deebo? I mean, obviously, Brock Purdy struggles gripping the ball. It's pretty well known. There's a hand size in the NFL that is, what scouts and GMs want. Not every quarterback has it, but, I mean, he's skipping balls to Christian McCaffrey in the flat because it's raining. I'm sorry. That does not feel like a Super Bowl host a Lombardi Trophy team or quarterback. So there were 8 quarterbacks I watched this weekend. San Francisco's was the 8th most talented. I'm sorry. It's what I see. I'm not a stat guy. If stats mattered, Buffalo beats Kansas City because I saw Buffalo after the game. All their stats were better than Kansas City's. Kansas City, not a volume team, efficient team. So, I mean, he plays in the NFC. He's got a great coach who's sometimes overly tied to his play sheet. It's a stacked roster in San Francisco's favor to beat Detroit, but I feel like I've seen this. I have seen it. Great offensive coach, stacked roster, second best quarterback in a conference championship or second best quarterback in a Super Bowl, and I know how it ends. You know what Baltimore reminds me of a little bit is Philadelphia last year. So Philadelphia last year had this uniquely mobile quarterback, great coordinators, nice mix of young, old, good O-line, D-line combo. And it all gelled and got him to a Super Bowl. It feels a lot like that in Baltimore. Everything's lined up. The coaching staff, the coordinators are fantastic. They're healthy. I like the mix of players. Their quarterback is just simply hard to defend. I don't know what I'm getting in that Ravens-Chiefs game, but it feels like one for the ages. One for the ages. I mean, the Texans dropped 45 on Cleveland. They didn't get a touchdown. They didn't get an offensive touchdown. So it just kind of feels like, and they're not perfect. I mean, again, Kansas City got outplayed in the first half and then came back to win. I thought the Baltimore looked a little flummoxed in the first half and then dominated. But here's the thing about Baltimore. Is sometimes you get these years where everything just lines up. I mean, this team has played 7 wins versus playoff teams. Here's what's remarkable. 7 wins for Baltimore over playoff teams. 6 double digits. I've watched them crush Detroit. I've watched them crush San Francisco, crush Miami. This is a really good team. Lamar's on fire. The roster's on fire. Young guys like Zay Flowers, old guys, Roquan Smith. It all works for me. And one of the things I really like about Baltimore is that Lamar was a different kind of player. And I remember this when San Francisco had Colin Kaepernick, and Lamar's much better than Colin Kaepernick, but San Francisco and Harbaugh are like, hey, we're going to go all in on this, and we're going to kind of change the offense for this young guy. And everybody's got criticisms of Lamar and what he can't do, and Baltimore's like, oh, that's what he can do. And, you know, there was during the last couple of years when he got hurt at the end, there was questions about, are they committed to him? They just wanted to get the right number in negotiations. They weren't going to let him go. Good God, the guy's worth 10.5 points a game. You can make an argument. I don't even know if Patrick Mahomes is worth 10.5, 11 points a game. Maybe he is. Maybe Josh Allen is. But this team scores 28 when he plays and 17 when he doesn't. So they weren't going to let him get to the market. All right? Like they were going to pay Lamar. But I just love that there's such a symmetry between Lamar, who's always trying to get better, and Baltimore, who's always trying to make Lamar better. They don't worry about what he can't do. And by the way, there were some things early he couldn't do. There's not a lot he can't do. Is he as good as Mahomes from the pocket? Well, Mahomes is the greatest potential quarterback in the history of the sport. So I'm not holding him to that standard. But when he came into the league, he was kind of skinny. And then suddenly he wasn't. When he came into the league, he took too many shots. And now suddenly he doesn't. When he came into the league, he was very run reliant. And now suddenly he's not. Every year, Lamar fills a gap. And we always think of Mahomes' chief rival in terms of talent, Josh Allen. Are we sure it's not Lamar Jackson? Well coached, great staff, unbelievable roster. They're blowing out good teams this year, like good teams. San Francisco blew their doors up.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.